So be it, Jedi.
What's going on, guys? Back in another video. A few weeks ago, I posted a poll on my page and I asked which of the two shows, the Book of Boba Fett or the Kenobi series, was the worst. Before I get into that, I just want to say thanks for watching. Go ahead and give me a like if you feel like it, and if you stick around and enjoy the video, consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it. The Book of Boba Fett and the Kenobi series, two shows that came out, I think, in the same year. There was a lot going on that year. Two shows that were kind of poorly received by a lot of people. And in my opinion, two shows that, if they weren't going to be done right, they shouldn't have been made at all. So we get started with my analysis of which came first, which was the Book of Boba Fett. So the Book of Boba Fett, obviously, is about Boba Fett. Well, this takes place after Boba Fett's return from death in The Mandalorian Season 2, which, honestly, I enjoyed. I think that was done very well. I think we got to see him repay his debt to Din Djarin for returning his armor, etc. We got to see how the armor even got out of the Sarlacc pit and all that. My issue with the Book of Boba Fett is they just made him feel like a joke. I hate when you have an established character like Boba Fett, who, for a lot of people, I mean, especially since like 1980, was one of the most mysterious and badass and their favorite character. And then you slowly see, well, he's a clone of Jango Fett, so I'm sure that was kind of disappointing to them. Then, of course, George Lucas went back and changed the voice of Boba Fett to Tamora Morrison in Empire Strikes Back. And now we're here, where Boba Fett is an old man that wants to be a mayor of a town in Tatooine. Like, it's just 100% like different than the Boba Fett we pictured in our head, like being a badass, being obviously a bounty hunter for the Empire, doing all these crazy things. And you try to think, now he's hiring a gang of swoop bike riders to help enforce stuff. Like, yeah, it's fan fiction, and I know that it's easy to overanalyze the content in which you're seeing and be critical on it, but ultimately what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to look at it like this was made by somebody at Star Wars and Lucasfilm that doesn't give a shit about Star Wars at all. They don't care about Boba Fett. They don't care about his legacy. They just want money, and they want to tell a story that they can use to capitalize and make toys and whatever, consumer products. And I think we can all agree that there was this weird shoehorned, here's your baby back, here's your baby Yoda back episode in the Book of Boba Fett where, I mean, it shouldn't have happened anyway. So now they're trying to say that it was 2 years. I mean, somebody, Big Brother, forced their hand into sending baby Yoda back with Din Djarin. Now they're talking about a Din Djarin baby Yoda movie. The last thing I want to see ever in my life is Grogu again. I mean, I'm over that. I digress. The show had some very good elements, and like I said, people really put the Luke Skywalker deepfake, episode on a pedestal, but I look at that and I see, oh, that's Luke Skywalker. That's Luke Skywalker that in 20 years is going to be a washed up old man sucking on green milk. It's hard to see Star Wars through the perspective that is canon, because a lot of these characters don't turn out the way you want them to be. So, kind of why I read the books, but to each their own. So yeah, Book of Boba Fett, mixed bag. There were some elements that I liked. I liked Boba Fett's armor, looks badass. I like the black and the super vibrant, saturated green armor. I think Fennec Shan's a cool part of it. We got to see Cad Bane in live action. So there were some good things. I mean, I don't think anything is ever 100% like negative or a net negative. I think there's always some good to be taken from even things that you didn't enjoy. So there's that. There's the Book of Boba Fett. Now is the Kenobi series. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Boba Fett came out before Kenobi. So if I'm wrong, whatever, let me know and spank my bottom. Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen rumored to be in it, which obviously makes no sense. But the hype for this show was top tier, I believe. We got to see trailers, and the trailers were very misleading. I mean, as trailers, that's what they do. When the show came out, we got a big recap of everything that happened, which, do you really need that? But okay. So going into the show, Obi-Wan is a washed up old man that is sad, living on Tatooine and hiding and living the mundane life. Well, then the Inquisitors come to Tatooine and start giving Owen Lars some trouble. You know, I never really liked the idea of Inquisitors. I think that it takes away from Vader's, might, and the Empire's might, to have these little weak Force users that are kind of like angsty teenagers. I mean, Rebels is cool, the Grand Inquisitor is cool, and like Jedi Fallen Order, all that stuff is cool, but I get it. But it just seems like such a crutch at sometimes. It seems like, here's this Inquisitor, here's this Inquisitor. Oh, there was 27 Inquisitors running around wrangling up Jedi, like, And then you have, more and more Jedi that survive the Purge. So it's like, well, if there was that many Inquisitors, why didn't they find them? I don't know. I digress. So we have the Inquisitors come, and Reva, the big baddie of the show that, honestly, I mean, no harm to the actor, but whoever told her to act the way she did really did her dirty, because nobody liked that character. She was obnoxious and trying so hard to be the bad guy that it just came off as painful and cringy. My biggest issue with the show is the fact that they subverted us, and you got Obi-Wan Kenobi leaving Tatooine, which he would never do, to rescue Leia, which they should have never known each other. He finds Vader. They fight, which never should have happened. And then Reva somehow gets stabbed twice in her life by a lightsaber, which, look, we already know that doesn't do shit to you anymore. Once as a child by Anakin during Operation Nightfall, and again by Vader, and she's left to live. Like, it's just the biggest load of bullshit I've ever seen. That, like, you can just tell that anybody who made this show does not give a shit about Star Wars or the lore or the canon or the source material. Like, granted, when I was watching it, I did enjoy the scene between Anakin and Vader, because, I mean, seeing Hayden in the suit, I mean, I'm a hypocrite, but seeing Hayden in the suit with the busted helmet and all that was nice, and the acting from that little scene was nice. But in the context of the overall Star Wars universe, it never should have happened. Vader was presumed dead on Mustafar. Obi-Wan didn't know he lived until years later. He didn't find out from some Inquisitor. He found out in a cantina from a news broadcast or whatever. And then flash forward 19 years, they confront on the Death Star in A New Hope. Boom. That's your story. I just shake my head sometimes that Star Wars is in the hands of people that do not give a shit and just see it as a cash cow and only want to reap it for money. And that's, understandable. You paid $4 billion plus for it. You're going to want to make money. But the difference between Star Wars now and Star Wars 20 years ago is Star Wars 20 years ago was owned by someone who cared about the stories they were telling, who cared about what he had created and where that story was going to go. Now, maybe a few of them do. I think the people involved with the Bad Batch do. The Bad Batch has good stories, but I'll do a whole season 3 breakdown when it finishes up. I don't want to do episode by episode. Nobody really cares about that. The Bad Batch is good, but there's some things that are like, it's all got to be because of that, huh? So I digress. This was a very negative-esque video. Maybe I don't know. I mean, it's whatever. I just like posting polls and seeing how people feel. I mean, we got some cool shit from both of those shows. I don't know, all I talked about for the past 3 weeks is Hot Toys figures, but I've got the Kenobi Vader coming in a few weeks, so that'll be cool. Headcanon Vader for me. It's not from the Kenobi series. Whatever. Cope. All you got to do. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, check out more videos, and we'll see you in the next one.